It was another cold winter day on the island of Sodor. Gordon was resting in the sidings at Wellsworth. He had just done pulling the wild nor'wester and was about to make his way to Titmuss Sheds. He was thinking of all the intimate thoughts in the world about Rebecca and how, he was going to do the obvious to her at the night. Meanwhile, Edward was working all day. He was exhausted and tired. He was pulling his final afternoon train of the day before going back to the sheds. The train consisted of many boxcars and lots of heavy tankers consisting of hot cocoa, milk, cream, and crude oil for the fireplaces. The driver and fireman were concerned for their engine. "Oh shit, I don't know what to say. Lol," said the fireman. "This is fucking awful. Now listen here, we're going to get to this train, no problemo. We've done this many times." But then the signal was supposed to go up instead of down, showing green, which made no sense whatsoever. But anyways, the signal went green anyways, and Eduardo, the blue fusspot, made his way to the next station. They were soon making good time. Snow was cool, everything was perfect. But the driver and fireman were concerned. Water pressure had begun to drop in the boiler. And soon they were ascending to the top of Henry's Hill. Edward stopped just at the bottom of Henry's Hill. "Don't you mean Gordon's Hill?" said the driver. "Anyways, my goodness, you're stuck, Edward. Man, if we just put a little bit more coal, we might be able to get to the top." And they did so. A little more coal was built, and Edward was trying to pull the train by himself up the hill. The train was heavy, and the tankers surged back. But Edward would not give in. He tried to make his way to the top of the hill. But unfortunately, the strain was too much for Edward due to his overexertion, and he had to stop. "God damn it!" sang the crew. "This is fucking awful! LOL! Shit! Ah!" Well, one of us got to do rock, paper, scissors to go get some help. The fireman lost the rock, paper, scissors bet and had to go for help. Meanwhile, Bill and Ben also had a hard day's work and were about to make their way back to the China Clay Works to rest for the evening. But then the station master ran frantically out of his office and nearly slipped on the icy surface. "You ought to go to the bottom of Henry's Hill and go and save Edward. He is stuck. Could you go help, please, Bill and Ben?" "Oh, we should do that, no problemo. Isn't that right, Billy boy? Right, Benny boy, let's go and help. This should be fun." And both tank engine twins made their way. They rushed as fast as they could. Meanwhile, Edward was trying to catch his breath. He couldn't hold much longer in the hill, but then there puffing behind him was Bill and Ben. They stopped just behind the train. "My goodness, you two. I'm so glad to see you both. This is amazing. Huh. Don't worry there, old-timer. It'll be fine." "Oh, I wouldn't say that. It's a lot of fun." Then both engines buffered up to the brake van and were coupled on. And slowly, both engines surged to get to the top of Henry's Hill. Unfortunately, or I should say, fortunately, they did have some slippy bits, but then they ascended to the top of Henry's Hill. Woohoo! sang the twins, and they made their way down to Marin Station. At last, Moron Station was just in sight of them all, as Edward, Bill, and Benjamin were making their way towards the platform. Everyone else was in shock. Duck was the most surprised. Boko was skeptical, but the twins soon explained, and Boko forgot to be cross in the first place. But there, standing in front of Edward, was Sir Topham Hatt and the Fat Controller. Edward, you did very well pulling the train down the hill with Bill and Ben's help. This is so rare for you to get help up the Henry's Hill. This is so amazing. Oh my lord, this is amazing, like, holy crap. Edward's driver uncoupled him. James finished his drink and made his way. Edward made his way to the water tower, and James went out of the way out of his pure curiosity and kindness. And soon, the thirst was quenched all the way. Edward's boiler was soon filled with all the water necessary. There was a tad bit of nitrogen added to Edward's water to ensure that the fuel would support his fire. It was beautiful. This is amazing. Bill and Ben, you did very well saving Edward. This is quite an achievement, you two. Unlikely from you, I say. But as a reward, you'll get the day off tomorrow. Both twins were honored and humbled by their remarks from the controller. Now we must celebrate for Edward. He did very well today. I think he, too, deserves a much-needed rest. I think I'll send Nigel to help Edward with the rest of his jobs tomorrow, to help him out. The other engines were beautifully surprised. They thought of all the innuendos and whatnot about the day's events. Edward felt very relieved and wanted to, and felt like he needed to relieve some pressure off his tender. But what the engines didn't realize was that a cold front was coming their way, which would cost the life of one of the engines. But that's a story for another day, everyone.